Last thing I do want to touch on real quick is NXT Roadblock this past Tuesday. As I mentioned at the top of the show, felt very much like a pay-per-view, a PLE type of show as far as the star power, the matches, and what happened on this show. So we'll just run down the list real quick. The Hardy Boys defeated Fraxium, Nathan Frazier, and Axiom to retain the TNA World Tag Titles. Jordan Grace beat Roxanne Perez singles match. Obafemi, the NXT champion, defeated Moose, who's the TNA X Division champion. Javon Evans beat Ethan Page in a New York City street fight. Had some attackers after the match. What's that faction called again?
I call them Retribution 2.0.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think they have a name.
And then the main event, Stephanie Vaquer. Vaquer? Am I saying it? Vaquer.
Vaquer. I don't know. They say Vaquer. Depending on who says it, they say it a little differently.
Yeah. So she was the NXT North American champion. She defeated Julia, who was the NXT Women's champion. Winner takes all. So since Stephanie won, she is now a double champion. She's the NXT Women's champion and now the NXT Women's North American champion. And as they said in commentary, first double champion since Becky Lynch. So a very cool moment. So Tim, just last thing, just your thoughts on this show, just the feel of it.
So I thought this show was freaking amazing.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get a rematch between the Hardys and Fraxium with the NXT titles on the line WrestleMania weekend. I think that's one of your big stand and deliver matches because Matt asked for it. He's like, hey, we just beat the NXT Tag Team Champions. Give us a shot at your titles now. So Matt Hardy cut a promo asking for it. So I think they do it a stand and deliver.
What a great way to get the Hardy Boys involved WrestleMania weekend.
Exactly.
Awesome.
You can sell that Hardy shirt at the Superstore over WrestleMania weekend and stuff. So.
Dude, and yeah, you get them involved WrestleMania weekend. It helps sell tickets for stand deliver at the arena.
You get the Hardy rub and you don't even have to pay them because TNA's paying them or however this deal is working. I don't know.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, as far as the rest of my thoughts go, Obafemi and Moose. Oh my God, was that great? Obafemi press slamming Moose. Like that was awesome. Just way better than I expected. I thought it was gonna be good. It was great.
I mean, the build was not much there. It was just more. Moose came out, confronted Obafemi, says, I want to challenge you. They had like a little press conference. And yeah, I think it's just because these are two big dudes. We want to see them beat the crap out of each other. They're both champions from their respective companies.
What worked well is everybody, at least the normal NXT audience, knew who Moose was and was hyped for it. It wasn't like, oh, who's this guy?
And the match delivered. They're both like almost like look like equals, like two juggernauts beating the crap out of each other. It was a lot of fun. Also, Undertaker giving the rub to Obafemi as he's walking to the ring backstage and little pep talking and said, go out there and defend your yard. It's like, that's cool. Undertaker giving Obafemi the rub there. So very cool. And then the New York City street fight. Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's what I was going to hit on next. I liked Javon Evans winning. I'm like, yes, finally. Give Javon a big win. Ethan Page does whatever Ethan Page is going to do. He's going to be fine. Maybe he comes up to the main roster soon.
Yeah.
But then they have this Geek Squad beat him up. Well, I call him Geek Squad because they got the I always forget his name. I just know him as the Bookworm because he always just talk about reading books. That's why I call him the Geek Squad. The Bookworm and his crew beat him up, and I'm like, oh no. They go from giving him this big win that could elevate him to like the North America title or something, and then he just gets destroyed.
Yeah.
Beat down. So like anticlimactic.
I like the finish though between the two of them when Javon Evans hit the cross or a springboard cutter on Ethan Page when Ethan Page has his head in the chair. That looked really cool just from a visual offensive standpoint, just the brutality there. And then this main event, I think we talked about it last week, we mentioned everyone thought this match was going to be the main event for Stand Deliver, but unfortunately, I think you brought up last week's episode. The rumors are Julia is injured.
Well,
time off.
There's a couple things here.
Yeah.
Julia is beat up, not quite injured.
Okay.
And they got to get her visa fixed. They got a visa issue, so she's got to leave, apparently.
Oh, no way.
That's what came out this week. It's more a visa issue than anything, but she is pretty banged up. So it's kind of like twofold where, she's got to take some time away because of the visa issue. So she can't work till they get that situated. And so she will get to recuperate these, I wouldn't say injuries because she's not fully injured, but, bangs and bruises or whatever you call them.
Ouch. Okay.
Well, it's a visa thing as well. I think AEW's got a couple wrestlers with visa issues. That's where Roosh has been missing because he's got a visa issue.
And Jamie Hayter, right? Jamie Hayter.
Yes, that was the other one. Yeah, Jamie Hayter.
Yeah,
that's why she's been working overseas a bunch. But yeah, so it's very unfortunate going into Mania that you have visa issues with your, one of your top wrestlers. But I wanted to bring something up really fast, and I'm going to actually show something here on my side of the screen.
Okay.
Because we talk about, Stephanie Vaquer and Julia and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
Well, it looks like WWE may be more in on Stephanie Vaquer than Julia, because when you look here, and if I can get it to go.
I mean, listen, I love both of them. They're both stars. Just their entrances alone.
Oh yeah.
Imagine those entrances like at a WrestleMania level production. I cannot wait for that. Oh, okay.
So when you look here on, this is from WWE's website, like the Superstar page, and you look at the header here, they've just recently, within like the last day, changed around some of the wrestlers.
Okay.
They've added old Ricky Saints and Stephanie Vaquer.
Wow.
So that's a cool one. If you guys are watching on video, you see what I'm showing here.
Yeah.
So that's cool one to see. That
with like, Oba Femi there too. Okay.
Oba was on before.
Okay, gotcha.
So actually, I can go. Where's my Instagram? I actually have a comparison.
Okay.
Of both of them here. I can show really fast. Right here. See if I can see if it gets big enough or not. You kind of see it. So Oba Femi was there before, as you see right here on the bottom of 2014. But they've added Ricky Saints, so that's they're all in on Ricky Saints. They've added Penta and they've added Stephanie Vaquer on there. So
nice.
There's some interesting things to look at as far as like who are they highlighting and saying, hey, these are our bigger names right now.
Yeah, who to focus on.
Because like they removed Ethan Page, they removed Dominic, they removed Bailey. Trick Williams got pulled off of that. He was on previously on that little header thing. So yeah, Stephanie over Julia is an interesting one.
It's gonna be interesting moving forward. I think both of them, obviously phenomenal wrestlers. Makes sense. Both of them were champions pretty quickly since their debut in NXT. They're just two of the best on that roster. And I cannot wait for them to be on the main roster sooner than rather later. I mean, they both are gonna have huge WrestleMania matches and presentation in the near future. I can't wait. Now the two,
not just them, but also Jordan Grace.
Totally. Well, that's my thing. It's like out of the two, if you had to make me pick one, I am definitely maybe more of a Stephanie fan. Just I love like a lot of her posts on Instagram. It's like all like heavy metal songs. So she's a total heavy metal rocker, all that stuff. I'm a huge she won me more even that more from that. But yeah, it's and what a good situation NXT is in. It's like, okay, Julia has to step away for a while. We have Stephanie here to pick it up right after. It's a nice spot.
So what are your thoughts on them having Stephanie hold both belts now and not putting the NXT Women's title on somebody else like a Jordan Grace or a Roxanne Perez in the interim?
Well, I wonder if this was the plan for Stand and Deliver weekend, because when Julia won, remember Stephanie came out to celebrate, but she eyeballed that title right away when Julia held it up. So it was kind of foreshadowing. I think the two of them were going to have a collision course or a path to this big match between the two of them, Stand and Deliver weekend. But it looks like obviously it just got sped up to 5 weeks earlier for Roadblock here. Now what's going to happen? It's like, does Stephanie defend each title separately, or does she defend it winner take all every future match for her? It's this is not a merging of the titles. I'm glad they're keeping both titles existent and existing here. But yeah, it's does she eventually just relinquish the North American title and then they have like a tournament to find a new champion?
I mean, hey, we're coming up on Stand and Deliver. We've had how many now ladder matches for the North American title at Stand and Deliver?
Yeah. So yeah, I wonder. We don't know. Well, maybe we'll get more on next week's episode of NXT, but maybe, she just gives up the North American, and then Shawn Michaels announces a tournament for a new NXT Women's North American champion, a tournament there. And the finals could be Stand and Deliver. That could be one idea. But so I was going to ask, so Roxanne Perez lost to Jordan. So I think that's kind of Roxanne kind of helped put over Jordan Grace on her way out, as Roxanne, I'm sure, is going to go to the main roster soon. I mean, she was at Elimination Chamber 2 weeks ago. So she's more or less main roster bound. And so you and I predicted last week her and Bailey are probably going to have a Mania match or something that weekend, or maybe it's Stand and Deliver match. Who knows? But I think with Bayley involved,
So-
maybe you want that for Mania instead.
So the interesting thing with Jordan Grace, and I don't know how much you've heard of her, contract and coming in and stuff since the start of the year. So she's on a main roster deal,
Oh,
but
wow.
they had her get a place to live in Florida for now, so she could be training at the PC and doing NXT every week. So they had her get her residence, and then according to Fightful, is she may or may not only be down in NXT for a little bit to just get used to everything, even though she really doesn't need to because she's got that TNA TV background where she knows TV. It's not like Stephanie or Julia that's got to learn TV. But so what Sean Ross Sapp had said originally was it might just be WrestleMania's buttoned up. There's nothing for her. We'll throw her into the NXT, let her do something there, and then call her up right after NXT or after WrestleMania season's over.
Interesting. So yeah, maybe she just doesn't go after her title. She just has a few more matches, a little more seasoning to get to the WWE system, and then call up after.
Unless the Julia situation leads them saying, "Hey, we need you to step up for a little bit. Let's do this with you here." Maybe it's her and Stephanie for I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, no, we'll see how that plays out with Jordan Grace. I mean, like I said, Roxanne definitely main roster bound soon.
With Jordan Grace, it was funny. I was listening to Lance Storm the other day, and he was like, "It was very weird watching Jordan Grace on NXT and not thinking, oh, she's one of ours, because she's not anymore." Because he works,
that's right. Because last year
as a producer.
Yeah. Let's see what else. So yeah, cool seeing the Hardy Boys win. Also, I just love that theater, the theater that they were in, the Madison Square Garden. That looked cool. My brother was telling me to do boxing matches there, so that's why they
promoted one on Raw.
Yeah, so it's cool. They just adapted that same format. It was just cool. All the seats looking down, and just looked beautiful. Them wrestling inside there, that venue. So it's just cool for them to wrestle in New York City. And let me see here. So yeah, just super happy for Stephanie here. I think she's gonna do an amazing job as champion, and cannot wait to see what's next for her. And then next week we see Eddie Thorpe versus Trick Williams, NXT Underground match. Jada Parker, Mickey James had that segment backstage, and Jada Parker teasing the idea she wants to go after that NXT Women's Champion. So maybe that's the Stand and Deliver match. It's her versus Stephanie for the title at Stand and Deliver. And maybe Jordan Grace goes after the North American title. Who knows?
But do you have Stephanie work 2 matches in one night is the question. That's the weird thing about her having both titles.
Unless she relinquishes North American, creates a tournament, Jordan wins that, and then is it like North American champion for the short term.
I can see that.
But let me ask you this. Like, you're saying that Jordan Grace is going to have a short stint in NXT before main roster.
Potentially.
But do you think she deserves a quick push or turnaround compared to Julia and Stephanie Vaquer? But it's just because she has more experience on US TV.
So did you hear what Stephanie said about when she got signed to WWE and main roster versus, so she was on Busted Open with Bubba.
Okay.
And she said, WWE asked me, where do you want to start, main roster or NXT? And her initial reaction was she told WWE, I want to go to the main roster. Then she thought about it and said, no. I need to go to NXT because I need to learn. I need to get my English better and I need to learn WWE. So she picked going to NXT.
Okay.
They gave her the option, which I was like, we never hear them doing that. So with Stephanie, she picked it because she wants to learn, grow, and progress herself before she's on that main roster.
Cool.
So Julia, I don't know.
Okay, so yeah, when she gets to Raw or SmackDown, she just can just jump right in and just blend in just fine with the rest of them. So okay, cool.
Yeah. I would say listen to that Bubba interview because she also talked to how different CMLL is than WWE. She's like, in WWE, if I need help with anything, I can ask anybody. You go to CMLL and they're just like, figure it out yourself. Like, I want to learn, teach me how to do this move, or why did I do this wrong in my match? And they just figure it out. She's like, there's no one that will help you down there. It's so different. And she's like, I love it here.
You're right. If you're like a true fan of pro wrestling and you want to improve your skills, that performance center must be amazing. Just to have the resources to improve as a performer. So it sounds like she's in the perfect situation. And I'm sure that's what a lot of people and other promotions maybe want to come over to WWE at some point just for that experience. And then
might be getting Jeff Cobb soon, even though he's still working New Japan matches.
Yeah, I saw that report too. So exciting stuff if that's true. And I saw a post how many Lucha Underground alumni are now in WWE now. It's kind of
hold on. So
you might have to do a separate video for yourself if you want. Like,
man, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, do it if you want. You think about it. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah, check it out. The alumni of Lucha Underground are now in WWE. Maybe WWE can get by Lucha Underground or something.
I mean, 2 are champions, Chelsea and Io.
Yep, exactly. Kairi Sane. I mean, sorry, the list goes on. I don't want to name them all here, but no, great show here with NXT Roadblock, and now super happy for them for the road to Stand Deliver. So yeah, if the Hardy Boys can be involved there, Stephanie maybe against Jada Parker. I don't know who Obafemi goes after next. That'd be interesting to see there. Let's see, Ricky Saints, he was backstage, so maybe Ricky Saints will have a big match, Stand Deliver. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do next for NXT moving forward. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, because they're building the Stand and Deliver, and it's like, you say Obafemi, it's like, ooh, the only thing I can think of is Trick beats Eddie Thorpe, and then he becomes the new #1 contender. And so maybe you have Oba beat Trick, and that's Trick's send off
before he goes main roster. Yeah. I'm with you. I think Trick Williams is main roster bound.
Give him that one last main event in NXT on NXT PLE.
Yeah, at this point, he's accomplished everything he could in NXT. There's nothing else for him there. So let's see. Was there anyone with the women's division? I was trying to think from the other segments that happened on Roadblock this week.
Not really, because there was very little non-wrestling, because they just shoved 5 matches into a 2-hour show with commercials.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, sweet. But yeah, looking forward to it.